Okay, so now I have my pattern cut out. You'll see here that it's cut out pretty rough, but it's two separate pieces, and I know which pieces those are. I'm gonna lay my fabric out nice and flat on a big, long surface, and I'm gonna make sure that my right sides are together. So if you look, my right sides of my shark, the ones that I want on the outside of my pajamas, are folded inside together, and my fabric is the long and skinny way. So it's two sides folded together, the right sides are together. The fold is closest to me here. The salvage edges are the cut edges. They're furthest away from me. Now when I look at my pattern, it has the layout of how I want to lay out my pants. So this is the layout piece. If I look here, it says pants, and it shows me how I want to lay out the pattern pieces on my fabric. So I have pattern pieces 11 and 12, and the only two differences are how wide my fabric is. So when I went to the store, I could have gotten fabric that was skinnier or wider, and the only difference how you lay it out is that this one is with the skinny fabric and they go back to back, and this one overlaps a little bit because the fabric's a little bit wider, so you can save a bit of fabric on the ends. So look at what your fabric is, lay it out, make sure you can fit both 11 and 12, make sure that the pattern is not upside down so that the dark lines are facing up so you can see them, and that you look at the curvy edges versus the straight edges and line up your pattern on your fabric just like this layout. So I've done that here, so my number 11 is right here, my number 12 is right here. In the middle of the pattern piece, there's a big long arrow right here, and that part needs to be lined up parallel to the fold of your fabric. So everything is all nice and flat, there's no bunches, it's been ironed, it's all nice and flat, and then I'm gonna pin all three pieces in place. So my pattern to both layers of my fabric. So if you look here, I have pins every so often, all on the outside edge of which size I want. If you look nice and close, you can see that here is the extra small line, in the middle is the small line, and on the outside is the medium line. So if I want to have a medium pajama pant, I'm going to put all my pins really close to the medium line, but inside the line. So not on the outside of the fabric, but inside the pattern. To pin, I'll show you with this number 12 here. To pin, I'm going to keep everything nice and flat. I can have a partner help me if I want. I'm going to stick the pin through all three edges or all three layers and then back up. So I don't need to have pins all over the place, just enough to keep it flat, and so when I start cutting, everything stays nice and flat and together. One tricky thing, if my pajama pants are really long, if this pattern is really long for me, I can make an adjustment, and that's down at this line here. So if you look here, there are two lines, and it says to shorten, fold along this line. So if I take my pattern here, I can fold this straight line here up to this dashed line here, and all my other lines should still line up. If I do that to both my pajama pants, I can make them a little bit shorter and then save a little bit of fabric. So you don't need to do that, the actual pattern is here, but if I want to fold it up, I can make them a little bit shorter. So I want to pin both pattern pieces in place, and I want to have everything together. So all three pieces, make sure the pins go through all three pieces.